Alright, let's talk about gacha games. These little beasts have taken over mobile gaming and they're not going anywhere anytime soon. For those of you who might be new to the world of gacha, it's pretty simple. You basically spend in-game currency, which, let's be honest, you'll probably buy more of at some point, to pull random characters, equipment, or items, kind of like a digital capsule toy machine. It's thrilling because you never know what you'll get, but it's also frustrating because the top tier stuff, it's rare, and you'll be grinding for ages or spending some cash if you want those god tier pulls. It's a love-hate relationship for sure. Now, for the fun part, we're ranking some of the most popular gacha games based on their pull rates. We all know that the lower the rate, the more painful the grind. Some games are a little more forgiving, while others seem to delight in teasing you with one chances for your dream characters. We've dug into the numbers so you don't have to, and today, we'll talk about which games offer the best chances for those coveted pulls. Grab your wallet, get comfortable, and let's dive in. I'm quickly moving on to the video. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching.
A very small portion of the audience is subscribed to the channel. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like these types of videos. Thanks.
In the world of gacha games, there's always that thrill of pulling something great, right? It's a feeling you can't really describe until it happens. Dragon Ball Legends, a game known for its flashy characters and intense battles, is no exception. The pull rates here seem generous on the surface. 1 in 10 chances of getting a sparking character, which is pretty solid. But hold on a second, there's a catch. Ultra rare characters, those overpowered game changers, are an entirely different story. You can't just get them from your regular summons. That would be too easy, wouldn't it? Ultra rare characters are a whole other tier in Dragon Ball Legends. These characters are stronger, faster, and just overall more game breaking. They can turn the tide of battle in your favor with just a few taps. But here's the kicker. While sparking characters can pop up pretty frequently, ultra rare characters are locked behind special gacha banners. These banners usually drop as part of in-game events, and they don't show up just anytime you feel like it. So if you're aiming for one of these beasts, you're going to have to be patient, and maybe even a little lucky. Now, on the one hand, this does take a lot of the guesswork out of whether or not you're going to get something worthwhile. If you're pulling from a special ultra rare banner, you know there's a good chance you'll get a top tier character. But there's also a downside. Since these banners are special event based, the game practically forces you to spend money if you want a better chance at pulling one of these ultra rare characters. Sure, you can still grind out the in-game currency, but let's be real, it'll probably take a lot of time, and the odds are still slim. This is where gacha games like Dragon Ball Legends start to show their true colors. While the pull rate for sparking characters is pretty decent, getting ultra rare ones requires a little more effort, or a little more wallet power. It's part of the excitement though. You never know when that next pull could change everything, and if you're willing to spend a bit more, you just might find yourself with one of those game-breaking characters. But hey, that's the gacha life for you. Let's dive into one of the most popular gacha games out there, Raid Shadow Legends. If you've been playing for a while, you're probably familiar with the grind that comes with trying to pull legendary champions. When you open an ancient or void shard, you're facing a 0.5% chance of getting a legendary. That's right, just 1 in 200. It can feel like a lifetime of pulls before you get lucky. But hey, the thrill of that possibility is what keeps many of us coming back. But don't get too discouraged. Raid Shadow Legends has a pity system built in. This system bumps up your odds a little bit each time you pull without getting a legendary, resetting once you finally get one. It's a nice little way to keep players from feeling completely hopeless though. Of course, that doesn't mean it's always going to work out in your favor. You're still playing the long game, and if you're in it for the rare legendary champions, you might have to accept that patience is key. Now, let's talk about sacred shards, which are a whole different beast. While they are incredibly rare, they offer something exciting. Each sacred shard pull guarantees you at least an epic champion or better. But hold on, don't get too excited just yet. The odds of pulling a legendary champion from a sacred shard are still relatively low, only about 6%. It's a better chance than the ancient or void shards, but you're still going to have to work for it. The higher rarity of sacred shards does give you a bit more hope though, especially when you start getting those flashy epics. When you think about the odds of getting a legendary in Raid Shadow Legends, it's clear that the game is designed to keep you grinding. The low pull rates are part of what makes that one moment when you finally get a legendary feel so rewarding. It's that excitement, that sense of accomplishment, that keeps us all coming back for more. So, whether you're chasing that one perfect champion or just enjoying the ride, remember, sometimes it's not just about the odds, but about the fun and anticipation of the pulls along the way. Alright, so today we're diving into one of the most talked about aspects of popular gacha games, the pull rates. You know, those moments when you're staring at your screen, holding your breath, hoping that a 5-star character or gear pops up. The excitement, the tension, and maybe even the disappointment when you don't get what you're after. Today, we're going to focus on two big names, Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Both of these games have become hugely popular, and guess what? They share something in common, their gacha system. Let's talk about the pull rates for a second. In both Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail, the odds of pulling a 5-star item or character are pretty low. We're talking about just 0.6%. That's not a lot, right? It's almost like you're playing the lottery but for your favorite characters. And yet, there's something thrilling about it. A single 5-star can completely change the game, making that character or gear the star of your team. So you're tempted to keep pulling even though you know the chances are slim. But here's the thing, while the odds are low, both games have a safety net. If you keep pulling enough times and don't get a 5-star, they'll eventually guarantee one for you. It's a feature that keeps players engaged and prevents them from feeling totally defeated. It's like the game is saying, hey, we've got your back, just keep going and you'll get what you want. And honestly, that's a big reason why gacha systems are so addicting. You never know when you'll hit that jackpot, and the anticipation builds with every single pull. In the grand scheme of things, the gacha system is what makes these games so exciting. Sure, the pull rates might be low, but the thrill of possibly pulling a 5-star is what keeps players coming back. It's all about that rush, the hope that this next pull could be the one that changes everything. So, whether you're pulling in Genshin Impact or Honkai Star Rail, you know it's going to be a wild ride. And who knows, maybe next time you'll get lucky and get that 5-star you've been eyeing for weeks. In the world of gacha games, Fate, Grand Order definitely stands out, and not just because of its legendary anime ties. The game has a bit of a reputation for being generous with its 5-star character pools, offering a 1% chance to snag one. But, as always, there's a catch, because it's not as simple as it sounds. That 1% is split between two pools, featured characters and non-featured ones. So, while it may seem like you have a solid shot at a 5-star, the game keeps you on your toes with this split. Here's where it gets interesting. When you're summoning for a new character in Fate, Grand Order, the featured characters at the time have a much higher chance of appearing. We're talking a 70-30 split between the featured and the non-featured characters. So, if your favorite character isn't on the spotlight during that event, your odds of pulling them go way down. It's a bit like being invited to a party where some of your friends get extra attention while you have to fight for your place in the spotlight. Let's say you've been grinding hard for that one specific 5-star servant. You might feel like you're at a disadvantage if they're not featured, but don't get discouraged because that's part of the gacha thrill. There's always that excitement of hoping the odds are in your favor, and sometimes, against all odds, that 5-star character will pop up when you least expect it. Plus, there's always a chance that even a non-featured character might surprise you with their abilities or lore. At the end of the day, Fate. Grand Order shows us that gacha games are all about luck, timing, and a little bit of patience. With that 1% chance for a 5-star, it's easy to get wrapped up in the excitement, but don't forget, this is a game meant to be fun. So whether you're chasing after your favorite character or just hoping for that lucky pull, remember, sometimes the best part of gacha is the journey, not just the destination. If you're a seasoned gacha player looking for a new challenge, Reverse 1999 might be exactly what you're looking for. This game is perfect for those who want to dive into a time-bending anime world, but it's not all smooth sailing. Building your ideal party can be tough, as the drop rates are intentionally low to keep things interesting. The base rate for pulling a 6-star character is set at just 1.5%, which might sound like a nightmare to some. But here's where the game gets clever and gives you a bit of a helping hand. Just like in some other gacha games, Reverse 1999 has a scaling pity system. What that means is that if you pull 60 times without getting a 6-star, the odds of getting one jump up to 4%. This increases with every additional pull, so the game helps you out the longer you go without your coveted 6-star. It keeps you engaged, knowing that your chances are slowly improving after every pull. No one likes feeling like they're stuck in a rut, and Reverse 1999 gives you an extra boost to keep pushing forward. Now, if you still haven't managed to get a 6-star character by the time you reach your 70th pull, Don't worry, you'll get one guaranteed. That's right, the game promises a 6-star after that many attempts, and once you get it, the rate resets. It's a way to make sure you're not completely unlucky, while also keeping the excitement alive throughout your pulls. It's like a reward for your perseverance, especially if you've been unlucky in earlier attempts. So, if you're to someone who loves the thrill of gacha pulls but doesn't want to feel like you're getting totally shafted by bad luck, Reverse 1999's system is a nice balance. It's challenging but also fair in its own way. With the right combination of patience and luck, you'll eventually build the powerful team you've been aiming for, and that makes the whole experience just a little bit sweeter. In the world of gacha games, there's one thing that always gets players talking: pull rates. We all know the excitement and frustration of rolling for that rare shiny 6-star character, but not every game handles it the same way. Take Alchemy Stars for example. This game's pull rate for a 6-star character sits at a solid 2% or a 1 in 50 chance. On the surface, that doesn't sound too bad, right? It's a nice middle ground where you're not feeling like it's impossible, but it also doesn't just hand you everything you want immediately. However, things get a bit more interesting when we talk about the game's pity system. Unlike some other games, where a pity system guarantees a high-tier character after a fixed number of pulls, Alchemy Stars works a little differently. Statistically, you're looking at a guaranteed 6-star character by your 50th consecutive pull. Sounds good, but here's the twist: if you don't hit that lucky pull by then, the chance starts to slowly increase. The longer you go without getting a 6-star, the more your chances of pulling one rise. It's kind of like the game rewarding your patience, or, depending on how you see it, your stubbornness. But wait, the pity system doesn't stop there. Even if you're unlucky enough to miss the 6-star on your first 50 pulls, the rate of getting one keeps climbing, and by the time you hit your 90th pull, you're guaranteed a 6-star. That's right, no more gambling after almost double the amount of pulls. It's a bit of a safety net for players who might feel like they're just not getting lucky, but honestly, it's a double-edged sword because hitting that guaranteed pull feels great, but you might still be sweating a bit by the time you're nearing 90 pulls. So, compared to other popular gacha games out there, Alchemy Stars' system is a bit of a balance between giving players a chance and not leaving them completely empty-handed after tons of pulls. It's not as fast as some other games with their pity guarantees, but it's still generous in its own way. It's all about how patient you're willing to be, and whether or not you want to risk going the full distance to get that sweet 6-star character. When it comes to gacha games, one of the most important things players consider is the pull rate. It's that sweet, elusive chance to get the rarest and best gear in the game, and not all games are created equal in that department. But if you've been playing on Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, you'll know that it stands out in a big way when it comes to pull rates. While the game has its gacha mechanic, it's not the main focus of the experience, but let's be real, everyone's here for those powerful weapons. And if you've ever felt frustrated by stingy drop rates in other games, Ever Crisis might just feel like a refreshing change. The game offers a generous 7.5% chance of pulling a 5-star weapon, which is honestly pretty high compared to other popular gacha titles. If you've ever spent hundreds of pulls in a different game only to get a handful of rare items, you'll appreciate how much better the odds are in Ever Crisis. But wait, it gets even better. There's something that's not very common in other gacha games, a wishlist feature. That's right, you can actually prioritize the gear you want, and while it doesn't guarantee you'll get exactly what you're after, it does slightly boost your chances. Imagine pulling the exact weapon you were hoping for with a little help from your wishlist. That's a win in our book. Now, let's talk about how Ever Crisis compares to other popular gacha games. A lot of these games have notorious pull rates that can feel like a real grind, with chances for rare items often dipping into the low single digits. The whole process can be discouraging, and while some people are okay with the random nature of gacha, others get tired of spending countless resources just to see a bunch of duplicate items. Ever Crisis stands out in this department, making the grind feel a little less painful. It's not every day you get a fair shot at top tier gear, but with a 7.5% rate, there's some hope in every pull. Of course, there's still the typical risk of randomness when it comes to any gacha game. You're not guaranteed to get the item you want every time you pull, but Ever Crisis' 7.5% rate is definitely one of the better odds in the gacha world. And let's be honest, the wishlist feature is a game changer. Who doesn't love a little extra control over their fate? If you're tired of gacha games that feel a little too harsh on the drop rates, give Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis a try. It's a fun, refreshing experience where your chances of scoring big are a lot higher than you might expect. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.